Hi guys, how are we doing today? You're all welcome to today's tutorial. Today we'll be looking into how to make a Christian mother's blouse. Yes, and this blouse, we know that it always have a cape shape. There's always at the front pattern. Let me demonstrate what I mean. The shape, this is the previous one I have done before. So the cape, which is this form, it always run from the right side to the left side. And this is the cape that I mean. So this is what we are going to use this material to work on today. And for this, I have a spider lining. We used to turn it, okay? Then here is the fabric I'm going to use. So we can use a stone white, shiner white, or also this brand of white, okay? So just use this opportunity and hit on that subscribe button if you are yet to do so. So thank you so much for joining. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for all your love and support. I really appreciate you guys. God bless you. So without further ado, let's dive into our tutorial. So because this is a white fabric, I wouldn't want to use this fabric to draft this, okay? Because of stain. Even if I should use a white chalk, you will not really get it very well. I will not capture it well because I will be working with a white chalk. So what I will do now, I will draft a pattern here. I will transfer it to our fabric. So let's dive into our tutorial proper. So for this, I'll first of all start with drafting our starting line. I have my pattern paper like this. It's been folded into two, like so. Okay, so it's been folded into two. So on this fabric, I'll be drafting the front and the back at the same time with reasons. The reason being that the blouse, Christian mother's blouse, does not have a zipper. So there's no need of creating a zip allowance. That is one. And it's always have a button at the back. So the measurement for the front pattern and that of the back is the same. The only difference is the slit at the back. That's the only difference, okay? Where we will be attaching a loop and a button. And the front, while the front we have the cape, okay? So first of all, I will go ahead and create a starting line like so. So here we serve as our starting line, okay? And it's been folded into two. So from the starting line, the full length of our blouse of my client is 26 inches in length. But I'll go right there and I'll make it up to add 1 extra inch for allowance, okay? For seam allowance. So everything here will be 27 inches from the starting line. So this is where our 27 inches ends. So like so, that's that. So what I will do next is I will create our vertical measurements from the starting line. The waist measurement for my client is waist length is 16 inches, okay? So I'll go right there and mark 16 inches like so. While the hip length is 25 inches. Also mark 25 inches. So I'll make a straight line. So now I've made a straight line like so, okay? This is our waist, our hip length. So what next I will do is to create our shoulder measurement, then the neck width and neck depth. Okay, remember I said earlier we are using this pattern to draft the front and the back. So now the shoulder measurement of my client is 16 inches. I'll mark there 16 divided by 2, we have 8 inches. I'll mark there 8, okay? So for the shoulder slant, I'll come down 1 inch like so. So I'm going to connect it, okay? Connected it. This is our shoulder slant. So what next I'll do, the neck width for the front and the back is always the same. The only difference is the neck depth. So for the width, our neck width is 3.5 inches. So I'll mark 3.5 inches like so. First of all, I will create that of the neck depth for the back. The neck depth is 1 inch, okay? So I'm going to connect it like so. I'll connect it like so, okay? Then also the other side. So I've connected the neck depth like so. What I'll do now is to connect it, okay? From the neck width to like so, giving it a U shape. So what I'll do next is to connect our shoulder slant to meet the neck width. Okay? So what next I will do now is to create the armhole depth, okay? So the armhole depth for my client, you know, we said 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Is 8, okay? Another way for you to calculate the shoulder armhole depth rather is the bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5. So approximately it's 8 inches. So from the shoulder slant, I'll come down 8 inches like so. I'll connect it like so. Then all the way from the shoulder slant, I'll create a straight line. Okay? So we have a straight line. So I'll come up for the back, okay? I'll come up 1 inch for the back armhole. I'll come up 1 inch like so, and I'll connect it like so. But the midpoint of these two, we are going to find the midpoint of this. Remember we said this 8 inches, so that means 8 divided by 2, we have 4. So 4 here. All the way from this, we'll connect it to meet. Connect it like so to meet the 4. That is the actual way to get the accurate armhole curve. Okay, so like so, that is for the back. After, we're going to do that of the front. Now, what next I'm going to do, let's find the armhole for the front body. So from this midpoint, I'll come in ½ inch, okay? You could make yours 0.75 or 0.5. But for the course of this tutorial, I'm doing 0.5, that is ½ inch. So I'll connect it like so, all the way to the, okay? Then what next I will do now is to connect it to meet the shoulder slant, like so. This is for the front, okay? Front armhole curve, and we have the back armhole curve, okay? So what next I will do now is to also, we are going to use this pattern after drafting everything. We're going to use this pattern to cut the back, okay? After cutting the back, then we'll now go ahead and draft our front. Remember, we have not done the front depth, after which we'll now use this to create the cape for the front. So what next I'm going to do now is to find the bust circumference. The bust circumference of my client is 37 into 4. We have 9.25, okay? 9.25 is here. So I'll go ahead and mark 9.25, and I'll add extra 2 inches for seam allowance. C.W.O Blouse, Christian model blouse, is always a kind of a little bit free. It's not tight. It's always free. So I'll use ½ inch, okay? While 1.5 will serve as my seam allowance. While ½ inch will be for ease. So I've added 2 extra inches. So coming down to the waist circumference for my client is 34 into 4. We have 8.5. I'll mark 8.5 like so. And here on the waist area is always, there will be a dart. So for my dart, I added 1 inch and 2 extra inches, okay, for one for seam allowance and that of the east. So coming down to the hip the hip of my client is 43 inches into 4 is 10.75. So I'll mark 10.75 like so. Okay, I mark 10.75 like so, and extra 2 inches as well. So what I'll do now is to connect it from here to the waist and from the waist to the chest line. So we have chest line, we have our half length of waist, okay, then we have our hip, waist, chest line. So what I'll do now is to connect. So I'll use my pattern master to connect it this way. You know, the hip is always kind of curvy, so it will meet the waist all the way from here. I'll connect it like so. Okay, see what I have. So that's that, and this now will connect to the chest line. Connect to the chest line like so. Okay, so that's our blouse. We've inputted everything we need to add. Okay, so no need of using or adding an extra inches on the material while during cutting. Okay, so what next we'll do now is to cut out. So we are cutting the back. Okay, this is the front armhole cuff. So we're only cutting the back armhole cuff. Both the front and the back pattern. Okay, so what I'm going to do, you know, blouse at this edge is always kind of have a pointy shape. Okay, so I want to give it a curve shape. So starting from the, let me cut off, this is where our 27 inches ends. So let me cut it off. So from this end I'll come up 1 inch. I'll go up by 1. Okay, I'll go up 1 inch like so. Okay, so I also want us to create our dart from the close end. This is the close end. There is a bust to bust measurement of my client is 7 inches. Okay, that is 7 inches. So I'll make it, I'll add extra 1/2 inch to it. That is, we have 8 inches. So I'm going to measure out 4. So 8 divided by 2, we have 4. Okay, so that's what I'm marking for. So I'll mark 4 even at this, and I'll also mark 4. Okay, so all the way from the shoulder, I'll come down 1 inch down the armhole. Okay, for the front pattern, we have to come down 2 inches. Okay, 2 inches down the chest line. So we have our chest line as 9. So what I will be marking here is, I'll be marking it for the front pattern, I'll be marking 11. Okay, for the back we can come down 1 inch above the chest line. So I'll mark 11 inches here. So I will also create it like so. Okay, so I'll trace it all the way, meeting the 4 inches I've marked down vertically till the hem part. Okay, till the hem part. So at the waist, remember we added 1 inch. Okay, for the dart. So that means it will be 1/2 inch on both sides. 1/2 inch on both sides. Half is 1 inch. So I'll connect it like so. I'll connect it like so, meeting the dart point, and also like so. Then I also connect it all the way to the end part. This is how it's going to be. You can as well, depends on choice, can as well come up from the hem part, come up 2 inches. Okay, but for this I want the dart to reach at the hem area. So this is how my dart will be. So I'm going to just take it in like so, I'll stitch it all the way in this form. After I fold it, it's going to be like so. I'm going to fold it like so, taking down the one we have stitched. So from this point, I will stitch till I meet here, okay? And also I will stitch till the other end. That is how it's going to be. So remember, we have come up to create our cuff at the edge. What we're going to do now is I'll use my pattern master to cuff it to meet to the dart point area. So to give it that cuff shape at the side of our blouse. So I'll connect it like so. So I'll connect it all the way to the dart point, okay? Like so. This is the dart point I connected. So this is how it's going to, I'm going to trim it. So I'm going to trim it, okay? So now that's all. So what I'll do now is to cut. So I'll use this to cut the back, after which we'll work on our front cape. So right now I've gone ahead and cut the material, okay? Look at it. And also I've cut the lining, which is the spider lining. So what I will do, remember we have not slitted for the back. We are still going to use this to work on the front collar. So what I'm going to do now, to use the material, the fabric itself, to slit the back, okay? So I'll do that both on the material and that of the lining as well, okay? So from the neck, I'll come down 4 inches here, okay? I wouldn't want to use another shock because this is white. So what I'll do now, I'll hold it like this. I'll cut it, I'll trace it. I'll trace it like so, stopping at that 4 inches, okay? And I'll also do the same on the lining. You could make yours 3 inches, 5 inches, depending on how deep you want your slit to be. So there's going to be a loop here, okay? So after, we're going to cut a loop and put there. So now we have our fabric, we have our lining. So for the lining, we are going to use it to turn the main fabric. What I'm going to do now, I've gone ahead and cut it to the actual length, which is 27 inches. What I'm going to do next is to come up just 1 inch, okay? I'll just mark it like so. I've gone ahead and marked 1 inch, okay? I've marked 1 inch to even to this tip, 1 inch. So I'm going to cut it off, okay? So this, I also cut like this 1 inch on the front bodies. So we are done with the back bodies on both the main fabric and the lining. So for the collar, okay? So I'll flip our pattern like so. Let me use this. Let me use this side to do that. So that means if we turn it like so, this is our right side and this is our left side. So we have the right and left side. So we have right, we have left side here. So we'll be working on the left side. This is where we'll have a fall of this, our collar, okay? Starting from the right side to the left. So you now determine how deep you want the collar to be, okay? Falling on the left side. It could be 3 inches, 4 inches deep, depending on how deep your client wants it. But for this tutorial, I'll be making use of 4 inches, okay? I'll be making use of 4 inches. So I'll go right there and mark 4 inches like so. So I will not connect it. It could be even 5 inches, depending on your choice. All the way from the width, I'll connect it like so. I'll connect it like so, okay? To mark on the 4 inches. Here we have the 4 inches, okay? What next I'll do is to connect it using your French cuff to the next width, okay? Remember we marked 3.5 inches. So that means once we open it, it's 7 inches wideness. So like so, I will connect it like so. Using my pattern master, I could make use of French curve depending on the one you want to use. So I'll connect it like so, all the way from the 4 inches we marked. Okay, so I'll connect it from the here all the way to the next line of the width. Okay, I'll cut it out now. So what I will cut out, I will use it to cut our main collar. So here it is. So we'll use this pattern. Okay, we'll use this pattern to cut our main fabric. So now I've gone ahead and folded another pattern like so. So I'll just leave maybe some allowance here. Okay, so I'm going to add just 1/2 inch on this part, but before that I'm going to use office pin to hold it down like so. Okay, you can fasten it down. If you cannot really cut it with your hand, you can just hold it down with pin so that it can allow you to cut properly. Okay, so I'll hold it down like this with a pin. It's been folded into two, so that means we are cutting two patterns. Okay, one will be for the main fabric, one I will use the other one to turn the main fabric. Okay, so I've gone ahead. So what I will do now is to add just 1/2 inch on this side. I'll go ahead and add 1/2 inch. Okay, we are going to join it, okay, both the lining and the main fabric using 1/2 inch. That's why we're adding 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'll connect it like so. So I'll connect it like so, straight line. So we have 1/2 inch added at the side. So on this part that we came down 4 inches, you will now determine what the width you want your collar to be. Okay, so for mine, I wouldn't want it to be too lengthy. Okay, so what I will do now is I will use 3 inches. Okay, I'll add just 1/2 inch for turning with the lining. So I'll go right there and add 3.5. So now I'll mark it 3.5. You could make yours 4 inches, 4.5. Okay, depending on choice. So from this point, we're going to connect to this. So I also connect it like so. Remember, we added 1/2 inch. I also trace the 1/2 inch. Okay, all the way down to the 3.5 inches. So this is it. So now I'll come up to this other angle. That is where our shoulder area. Okay, remember our shoulder was 8 inches. So what we'll have there is just 5 inches left. So what I will also use here is I will make use of 3 inches only at this point. Okay, so that it will not cover up the rest of the shoulder area. So I also trace it like so. Okay, are you seeing it? So what I will do now is to use your French curve to curve it. Okay, that will be our collar. So I will take my pattern master like so. I'll connect it. The 3 inches and the 3.5. Okay, I'll just connect it like so. Did you see it? So here we have our collar all the way to this point, and also the 1/2 inch we added. Okay, so what I'll do now, I'm going to trace this. I'll trace it like so. I'll trace it like so. Okay, so I've traced it. I'm going to remove this one now. Have you seen our collar? So here we have, so I'm going to cut it from here. Okay, this is place we are going to cut. So we're going to cut it into two. Remember, this is our ½ inch we mapped out. So we're going to slit it into two. This is how I'm going to cut it on the main fabric. So that means we have two. Okay, we have our two patterns. So why this is the right side as well. So if while stitching, okay, our collar, I'm going to close it here, close it at the side. Here is our shoulder and here is the neckline area. So we're not going to close it on the shoulder area. So I'm going to do this and show us. So this is how it's going to be on our fabric, okay? See it here. So this is how it's going to rest. This is our neckline area. We're going to stitch it on, okay? And it will fall out like so. So for the front, so I want to show us how to cut the front pattern, okay? Remember, we have not cut the armhole curve. We have not cut it. We cut only the back. So I'm going to cut the armhole curve while cutting. If you have to cut the pattern, you place it in this form, okay? Because of the shape of the neck, you cannot really get it while it is on fold. That is why I had to spread it. So what I'm going to do now, the other side of the armhole, I'm going to also come in by ½ inch, you see, on this particular side. Remember, we came in from this slant, came down 4 inches, okay? That's the midpoint, okay? So at this point, I'm going to come in ½ inch like so, and now curve it. So this is how I'm going to cut it on this other side. So I'm going to curve it like so, and also I'll connect it this way. Connect it this way to this point. So while cutting, I'm going to cut off this point, and also on the other side we have marked to it. Then I will now cut the shape of the neck. This is being placed on the right side of the fabric, okay? On the right side of the fabric. So I'm going to cut it now. So I will remove the pins. So here we have the front pattern, okay? I also cut like this on the lining and show us. So now for our sleeve, our Christian mother sleeve, it's kind of puffy at the shoulder area. Yes. So for you to achieve this effect, you need to add more length to your actual length, okay? So my actual length is 8 inches. So from this line, I'll add 3 extra inches for this extra effect or this extra puffiness. So from this point, I will mark down, I'll measure out 3 inches, okay? 3 inches from this. I'll mark down 3 inches from this. So I will make it a straight line. This is to create our extra puffiness. So from these 3 inches, I'll measure out my actual length of this sleeve. It's not that too lengthy, okay? So I'll mark 8 inches, okay? You could make yours 9 inches, 7 inches. It depends on the length you want the sleeve to be. So I will also straighten it up like so. So from this, our actual length, I will come down. That's for cap side, okay? The cap side of my client is 4 inches. I'll mark down 4 inches like so. From these 3 inches. So from these 3 inches, I'll measure out, or I'll mark out my actual sleeve, okay? I'll mark out the actual round sleeve armhole circumference is 18 inches. 18 divided by 2, we have 9 inches. So I'll mark down 9 inches like so at this point, okay? I'll also add extra 4 inches to enable this. It's not a straight sleeve at the shoulder. It always have puffy. So that's why I added extra 4 inches at this point to also add it up to make it more puffy at this area. Okay, so I will add extra 4 inches at this point. So now what I will do also at the lower hem, our sleeve measurement is 13 inches divided by 2. We have 6.5. So I'll mark 6.5 like so. Okay, so there's going to be a kind of dart at this close edge. Okay, so I'm going to add 1 inch for the dart. Then I'll add seam allowance. Okay, I'll add seam allowance of 1.5 inches because I'm going to turn it with lining. So all the way from here, I'll connect it to meet at this point. Okay, I'll connect it like so to meet at this point. Why here is like this? Because we are going to, by the time we fold in our, we'll pleat it out, it's going to straighten up back to its actual form. So from here now, from this close edge, I'm going to create an armhole curve. Okay, I'm going to create an armhole curve like so. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'll measure out, I'll mark the same thing here. What we have here is 13 inches. 13 into 2, we have 6.5. This is the midpoint. So from this midpoint, we connect it like so, all the way to this point. So from this, this is the midpoint. So this is how our sleeve is going to be. This will bring out, by the time we pull it, it will adjust, okay, on our sleeve. This will create that extra fluffiness, puffy sleeve at this point. This is how our Christian mother sleeve should look like. So what I will do now is to use this pattern to cut on the main fabric. I will also notch it like so after cutting. So I've gone ahead and cut the sleeve 1, 2, okay, and also cut the lining. So for the lining, I removed just 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch from the, it could be 1 inch, okay, or 1/4 inch, okay. But for this, I removed 1/4 inch from this, okay. Help me to turn it at the lower hem. So while turning, I'll just have to right side facing each other. Okay, I'll now place the lining like so, right side facing each other, and stitch on it. I'll close the sides, okay. Then I'll now flip it to the right side facing each other. I'll do the same on the other sleeve. Then now for the back, first of all, what I will do is to turn using the lining to turn the main fabric at the neckline area, okay. So I'll close it like so. So I've gone ahead and cut a loop like so. I did three loops. So 1/4 inch as well. It could be 1.5, it could be 1 inch, okay, depending on how tiny or how big you want it. So the length is 4 inch, okay. You could make yours 3 inches or 5, but 4 inch at least moderately. So I'm going to do this. I'll close this, okay. Let me demonstrate it again. 1/2 inch on both sides, then you now close it again like so. So as you are stitching, you are closing. Okay. I'll close it like so all around. So I'll do this on these 3. Then after which, while closing the neckline area like so, right side facing each other, I'll close this way and also go up. After doing the loop, I'm going to insert it like so, okay. I'll flip it this way, then I'll insert it first, then second, second like so, then third I will stitch on it while stitching on the other side. I hope it is understood, but let me do this. I will show us later. So now I've gone ahead and stitched this side, not the cover side. Okay, so I've gone ahead and stitched on this side only from the back using the wrong side like so. So what next I will do now, here is our cape. I'll flip it to the wrong side like so. I'll turn it to the wrong side. Okay, I'm going to iron this out to smoothen it. So what I'm going to do now is to turn this on this way, this close edge. Okay, this is the shoulder area, so I'll flip it like so. So I'm going to stitch on it using 1/2 inch to the shoulder area and now turn it. Okay, after stitching on it, what I will do next is to top stitch on the seam allowance. Okay, it will now turn to the right side like so. So I'll do this and show us. Okay, close the sides. Here is the back bodice. I've also fixed the loop, the 3 loop at this side. So what I will do now is to close the shoulders. So I'll flip it right side facing the shoulder like so. So I'm going to turn at the shoulder like so, matching the 2 center points the same. Okay, then I'll close in lining to lining, then fabric to fabric. Okay, like so, using 1/2 inch. I'll do this on both sides and closing the side of our blouse using the actual body measurement. That's the bust, the waist, and the hip. Okay, so here is the side that we cut. See how it is, the side that we gave the curvy shape. So I'm going to close it in, then fix our sleeve. Also, here is the sleeve. Okay, I've closed in. Remember I said earlier during the course of our tutorial that I'll close in using 1 inch. That's that on both sides. I did that. So what I will do now, I went and iron everything out. I'm now going to close in the sleeve using the sleeve measurement. Okay, remember I said the round sleeve of my client was 6.5. So I'll measure starting from the dart point. So starting from the dart point, so I'll mark 6.5 like so. So 6.5. Okay, I'll mark it. Then I'll just take 1/2 inch on this side. Remember, it's going to be, I'm going to pleat it. Okay, it's going to be fluffy at this point. So just 1/2 inch is enough at the armhole area. So I'll connect it to the actual round sleeve measurement, which is 6.5. So I'll do this and fix it on our blouse and show us the final look of this Christian mother's blouse, cape blouse. So thank you so much for watching, guys. You guys have been so amazing and so supportive. Okay, just if you are yet to subscribe to this amazing family, please do so. Just hit on that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up, please. Comment. Okay, I'll be there to answer any comment, any question that will come across on this course of this tutorial and my previous videos as well. Okay, just support this channel by subscribing. Okay, share to your friends and well wishers. Okay, this will go a long way. Thank you so much. Till we meet in my next tutorial. So it's bye for now.